Question for all the liberals who say that you're a racist if you don't want the equivalent of British Columbia worth of immigration arriving to Canada every 4 years, which, believe it or not, that is the trend that Canada's been on for the past decade since Justin Trudeau was elected. We're now allowing 3% of the total population into the country every single year. The historical norm in Canada was 0.5%. We have increased it by 600% for the past decade. And if you criticize immigration, the liberals, the left wing, will try to get you pulled off of social media, claiming that it's hate speech and that you're a racist for bringing up the issue. It has nothing to do with hate against any group of people. It's about the primary responsibility of any government being to the citizens who elected it to govern. That, if that is not the primary mandate of any government, then there's no reason for government to exist. There's no reason for us to live in a democracy. And it has never been clear that the government of Canada's current immigration process is not favorable to Canadians who are not recent arrivals. It's by easily measured hurting Canada's economy, to say nothing of the cultural changes that we've seen. This idea that Canada is a post-national state, that we don't have an identity. A country can't exist if it doesn't have an identity. A country cannot exist if it doesn't have a border. And the Liberal Party of Canada is doing everything that they can right now to destroy Canada's past. Our soldiers who fought valiantly, Vimy Ridge, World War I, World War II. The Canadians were always known as the most courageous soldiers, bravers of the North, believers in free speech. And the idea that these were bad people, the settlers who arrived here were bad people, is an absolute farce. They built our civilization, and now the government of Canada claims that if you're against an entire province being imported to this country from all over the world, many areas of the world, with completely opposite values of Canada, you're some sort of a racist, and we're sick of it. It's ridiculous. The government of Canada's reason for existing is to serve the best interests of the Canadian people, and we're getting the exact opposite of that right now with this immigration policy. So my question to the liberals out there who say it's racist, you must think that the Japanese are incredibly racist, because the Japanese never had immigration. All of a sudden, 2024, their prime minister decided to allow 300,000 people in, and they just elected their first female prime minister, the furthest right-wing prime minister of all time. Canadians don't want these level of immigrations. If we live in a democracy, look at what's happened in Japan. They saw what happened letting immigrants in. You cannot lie. This universality that the left-wingers believe about 100,000 people arriving to our country from Afghanistan is not the same as what immigration has traditionally been in this country. Our immigration system in Canada has transformed dramatically. There used to be incredibly high standards to get into this country. Now they're begging for people to come. They're advertising free health care. It's clear that the government does not work in the best interests of the Canadian people. They work in the best interest of where our Prime Minister has spent the entirety of his life servicing, the WF Davos Brookfield Asset Management. They want Canadians to have less and less control over their lives. In Canada, I can guarantee you we're going to get digital IDs. Central digital banking currencies are on the way. We're going to follow. You don't think what Starmer just introduced in the UK that's going to be mandatory? Well, that exact same type of system will be implemented in Canada. Keep using cash. They're already trying to put limits on Canadians' ability to withdraw over $10,000 cash from the bank. Cash is another way to stop them from total control. They want to be able to essentially erase you. They're fundamentally tyrannical. They wrap it in a rainbow flag, but tyranny is tyranny, and tyranny in 2025 is wrapped in a rainbow flag. They have this veneer. Mark Carney and his globalist ilk, they have this veneer that there's these empathetic, kind people who just want to do what's best. In reality, they serve corporate elitists who weaponize turning society against each other with pushing trans flags all over the place to intentionally divide a society. It's tyrannical in the way that Much like you couldn't speak when living in Russia, you can't get on a live stream and start talking about how terrible Putin is, nor can you in Canada get on the internet and criticize trans or the LGBT community, claim that, and it's not about what you think on the issue, it's about the idea that free speech is a fundamental pillar of Western civilization, and it's under attack by a group of tyrants who want to be able to police what you're allowed to think, police what you're allowed to say. And when that happens, when they're able to police what you're able to think, police what you're able to say, and that you see other people getting censored, you self-censor, which is the whole idea. They don't have to arrest anybody. They just have to have a few higher profile arrests, and people will censor themselves. You already see it. I got removed on TikTok at 30,000 followers. Yeah, we really have a woke tyranny on our hands, and immigration is just one example of how our government now does not work in the best interest of the people who elect them, and they make it illegal to criticize them. The number one issue right now that Canadians have with the government is immigration. So they wrap immigration, LGBTQ all in this woke flag, and all of a sudden you can't speak about it. You'll be quieted if you try to speak about the fact that you believe it's negative for society. And it's not even necessarily about whether or not you're right, but it's certainly your right. If you don't have the right to hold an opinion, they're erasing you as a human. All you have are your words to convince people of things. That's the only weapon that you have. And now we have woke tyrants who want to take Canadians' only ability to voice their concerns with the government and have them living in threat of arrest. That's exactly what Bill C-8, Bill C-9 are meant to be. Bill C-8 and Bill C-9 are woke tyranny defined. It's exactly what it is. They want to be able to cut off your internet service, throw you in prison for up to life for words they don't like. When they say hate speech, they just mean speech they don't like. It's an absolute joke. They think they can tell Canadians what they are and aren't allowed to say. Mark Carney, his WF Davos Brookfield Asset Management values say that he knows what you are and aren't allowed to say. Yeah, I don't think many Canadians are going to be buying that, Mr. Carney. Please like, share, subscribe, join, become a member, donate, grab some gear. Really appreciate everybody's support.